Welcome to Sonographers in the Cities, where we connect through sound with your hosts, Lynn and Giselle. Welcome to another episode of Sonographers in the Cities. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Giselle.
We are wrapping up the month of medical ultrasound awareness with a very special guest. Most of you, if not all of you, know her. She is the OG of sonography, especially on social media. Please welcome Christy. Christy, thank you so much for being on here.
Yay! Hi, guys. I'm happy to be here and finally meet you all and just ready to chat it up with you guys.
Yay! We're so excited to have you on. I believe we're in the presence of an icon. This is amazing. And obviously we all know you're just another human being, but you're a very special human being. We appreciate everything that you do for everyone, all of us who basically kickstarted our journeys on social media, YouTube, Instagram. And we just want to hear from you exactly. Tell us a little bit about yourself, even though everyone probably already knows. But what do you want to share with everyone on the podcast?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I've never done anything like this, so this is awesome. I guess just like a little reintroduction of myself. My name is Kristy. I am a RDMS in general sonography, specifically OB GYN, and I currently work in Washington, D.C. So, and I mainly work in like an outpatient setting, just OB/GYN. And I started off my ultrasound journey working in maternal fetal medicine. And so I got a lot of experience, found the love in like OB, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now.
How did you choose sonography?
So when I was in high school, actually, I was like on that like journey path of like figuring out what I do as a first generation Asian American. I never had the sit down talk of what college was, what a university is. I had no idea you had to like apply for colleges and universities. I didn't know what a tuition was. And, I was kind of like considering, all my friends are applying to places. I'm like, am I supposed to be doing this? And I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. But my mom was a midwife nurse in Vietnam long before I was born. And she used to tell me stories about like delivering babies and like, all labor and delivery and how fun it was. And I was like really intrigued by that. Like I always knew I wanted to do like medical, but then I was like, I don't know if I want like the hard labor of like a delivery nurse. And I was like, okay, well, I think like babies is kind of cool. So like if I don't want to deliver babies, then why don't I do like take the pictures for the babies? So in all honesty, I had that weird idea and I Googled what like an ultrasound tech was. And I had no idea that it was his own job. It was his own specialty. And then I kind of just went from there. I obviously had no guidance in that time. So I was just Googling like, who are the people that do ultrasounds? What's the name? Ended up finding out it's like diagnostic medical sonography, this really long word. Went from there. Found out about all the education and I'm like, why don't all these universities say like RDMS or DMS? And then I kind of took the steps of figuring out what it was, sonography. And I literally went for it. Like I went to community college, did the prerequisites and just did those classes for the program. I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't think to do nursing. I didn't think to do x-ray. I was like, I just want to do ultrasound. Mm-hmm. And then I applied to all the programs in my state and I got into one of them and that's it.
That's so cool. Also, can I also just add that you are the first Vietnamese American that I'm Vietnamese too, that I've met for sonography. So that's like awesome.
Yes, I love that too. Yeah, where I'm from, there's not a lot of like Asian representation where I'm from. And so, when, like I said, when all my friends were like applying to colleges and like being like a first generation Asian American, it was just like kind of eye-opening, like, okay, what's like the next step and how do I do this and all this stuff. And yeah, I love that we could just represent. our field.
Totally. So how did you decide to do YouTube?
Oh, that's actually funny because it was all by accident. I was in my first year program of my ultrasound program, and we had a project. It was a video project of a day in the life of a sonography student. And in high school, I took a lot of TV production. I did like short films as like a hobby, and like for classes, it was just a class that I signed up with my friends. Like we would do like those cheesy like music videos and all that. And so when, we had this project, I was like, ooh, I want to make it like a really cool, like vlog type thing. And I did the project, edited it, posted on YouTube, and it literally just went viral. Like I had no expectations. I got a grade on it. And like, I literally just did it for a project. It was just my first project. And I guess it hooked on to other people. And then I had people reaching out to me like, hey, like I want to do this field. I didn't know like what schools to go to. And I was like, ooh, I could like keep on doing this. And then the next year I had the same project, but for a second year student. And then I was like, wait, like people actually like this video. I should like continue doing it. So it was literally all by accident. I did it for a project in my ultrasound program. And then that's it. It's history since then.
I love that. It's an amazing project that you did, because now look at what it's done for you. And
Yeah.
I mean, just at that time though, because I know it was a few years ago, was there anyone on YouTube that you had known that did ultrasound or that you had looked up at all? Or it was just, you just did it randomly and then?
Yeah. So I think at that time, I think my first video was maybe like 2017, 2018. And at that time, there was like no information online of what sonography was. It was always like nursing videos, how to get into nursing, how to do x-ray. And I don't think there was any sonography videos at all. I think they were just like educational for like AIUM, but not like a personal blog. So I kind of think that's why like when I first posted the video, they're like, hey, this exists. Like there's a person that does this. And it just kind of sparked the community. And then more people started coming out, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool. Like all these sonographers, they're having their own thing. And so I'm glad that I was able to spark that inspiration for people. I don't know, but
You kickstart a movement.
oh,
I agree. I really do think so, because I'm honestly, 2017 wasn't that long ago.
right.
And especially with social media now, so many people are using this as an avenue for educational tools,
Yeah.
and to figure out what they want to do. So it's really amazing what you did, what you've built, and now like your Instagram and everything that you've done. Do you have a favorite video that you've actually created over the years?
Favorite video. Honestly, I kind of think like my very first video was my favorite, just because it was so natural and raw. Like I would just have my iPhone at the time. I probably had like an iPhone 6 or 7, and I would just record stuff. And I really feel like it was a genuine representation of what I was going through, like late night studying and like going to scan labs and going to clinicals. I think that was like my most like transparent moment.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, the other videos are just like me sitting and talking in front of camera. But, that first one was like more like a vlog, like come into my life and this is what I'm doing. Because I think I had the second video and I like it just as much because I graduated, obviously. But I don't know, that first year is like that struggle and like you have all those memories attached to it. So, no, I do like the first video the best, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
You have great videos.
I look like a little baby in that one. But it's
Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen any of her videos somehow, where can they see your videos?
You guys can see it on YouTube. Just Google Kristy DMS and I should be there. All my videos are linked. I have videos from vlogs, to school, to advice. Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw that you visited CBD College. Was that a cool experience for you to do too?
Yeah. So CBD College, again, totally an incidental thing. Actually, I don't know if I've opened up about this, but I don't know, all my experiences have just been like by accident, and I'm very grateful for it. But for CBD, the original plan was, I don't know if you guys know Quinn DMS on Instagram too. She reached out to me and we just started like connecting as friends on social media. Again, she is also Vietnamese as well. So I kind of felt like, I was like, oh, this is like a cool connection. We started chatting and she just mentioned she goes to CBD college. And I was like, oh, that's very cool. But I initially had the idea of visiting her as a friend. So I was like, hey, Quinn, I'm off on this day. How cool would it be if I came and visited you for like a few days? And she'd be like, yeah, that'd be so awesome. Like, I'd love to meet you. And so it was literally just going to be me as a friend meeting her, or I guess like content creator with like a Sono supporter. And like, that's all it was. She starts telling all of her classmates, they're like, hey, Christy's going to come visit me. Christy's going to come visit me. She ends up telling her program director, literally as a joke, I was like, what if I did like a meet and greet there? And that night, the program director emailed me and was like, hey, does this day work for you? I'm going to promote this as a meet and greet, and you can meet all of our students and do a whole event. And I was like, oh my God, that'd be awesome. Because I wanted to do like a meet and greet, like just like at a cafe or something, like something simple. But then the school was like, no, like we have to have you come to the school. I was like, okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it was really intimidating because, you know, this was like my first solo project on my own as a content creator. Like people are taking the time to come see me. And, you know, none of it was sponsored. I paid everything out of pocket, including like my plane, the reservations, my goodie bags, Airbnb, time,
Yeah.
videographer, all that stuff, all out of my pocket. And I was like, it was just amazing to see everyone come to a community, whether they were here to see me or here to be on Ultrasound campus. It was like mind blowing. It was all by accident.
We love that though. I mean, Lynn and I, we've never met in person. We've only met on Instagram, and it just shows you what this community is truly like. And we always talk about how amazing the community is. And like, honestly, you're like a founding father of the community. And so it's really cool to see all the things that is possible from social media. And I'm sure you've seen all of the new DMS pages you've been seeing, students, even schools and other sonographers. It's been really great to see.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it.
Yes. I do think it's awesome, like making friends and connections. Cause obviously like, you know, we've talked a million times on social media, but it's so different. Like, I feel like I'm meeting for the first time, but also I feel like I've known you for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just cool to kind of build this community because we are in this sonography journey together, even if we've been doing it for years or you're just starting out in the field. Like, it's just such, I don't know, I just love the ultrasound community. Like, I love looking on my DMS page and seeing everyone's posts, and I love people making Instagrams to start their journey. It's so nice.
It really is. And Lynn is almost going to graduate. So that's exciting.
I have a month and a half left.
Oh my gosh.
I think I have like 2 weeks until my registries.
Does it feel real? You're going to be out in the world scanning on your own.
I know, with no supervision. I'm nervous, but excited to start working and make money because the school makes me broke.
Right, exactly.
You know, that's student life.
We know the struggle.
Oh, yes, definitely. So since we've just talked about you being a content creator, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about you being a sonographer, because that is what you do mainly, right? So what is your best memories or your favorite part being an OB/GYN sonographer?
My best memories of being a sonographer. You know, now that I've been doing ultrasound for a few years now, and especially with OB/GYN, because it's such a intimate type of work, because, you know, you're following someone's pregnancy from start to finish. I can honestly say, like, it's the best thing is probably just how rewarding I feel when I do get to see the progression of growth or just being on someone's like medical journey. Like, you know, we scan like 1 million patients a day. You probably don't remember their names sometimes, but it's like that 20, 30 minutes you're in a room with them, it's like it impacts them so much. And there's been times where like I'll see a patient and then like I don't see her for like 1 or 2 years and I see her again. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like you're pregnant again. And it just like kind of sparks the joy because I'm like, I remember your other baby. And then there's a new baby. And I don't know. I just, I love being able to talk to people. Like, that's also what I like about ultrasound. Like, you're not just like sitting in silence and not interacting. I don't know. I just love, yeah, I think mostly just like the intimate patient care that we give. And even like not even just OBGYN. I felt the same with like abdominal ultrasound too when I did it back in school. It's like, you're literally stuck in a room with someone and you're doing such important work, but then also giving like good patient care at the same time and also like building a relationship with them. And then it's like you never see them again, but then like you do eventually. I don't know. But
yes, I can relate. It's funny because Lynn and I were talking about why we love ultrasound in our last episode. And patient care was one of the things that I had spoken about too. I think after a while, you realize like that's what you're doing every single day. And you're with your patients, you're just enjoying, helping the patient in any way that you can. And sometimes we're almost like the person they can lean on in that time.
Yeah, like it's like their most vulnerable time and you're there, even if it's 20, 30 minutes, it does make a difference because like me personally, when I go to the doctor, you go there because there's a problem. So your job is to either find the problem and fix it. So I don't know. I love it.
What's the most challenging about OB?
The most challenging is definitely, well, one, chasing a live moving baby around while scanning. Because, with like abdominal, like the liver stays there, the kidney stay there, and like a baby is moving around. Other challenging things I can say with OB and with every other type of ultrasound, musculoskeletal injuries are like my enemy. I feel like I'm constantly like hurting my wrist or hurting my elbow every few weeks. And I would say that's like the biggest con in the field. Like people always message me and ask like, do you think robots are ever going to like take over our job, Christy, like for ultrasound? And like, I don't think so because like, this is like a human mechanism that we need to do. Mm-hmm. So like, I would say the biggest con is probably the musculoskeletal injuries. Yeah. And probably like the emotional toll that you could get from working in OB just because it's so intimate. And, people think that like you scan babies all day and it's rainbows and butterflies, but, your job is to find something wrong. And so a lot of the times your patients are going to have like fetal abnormalities and they're going to be bad things that happen. So that happened a lot when I was in maternal fetal medicine because all your patients are like abnormal. And so that did put like an emotional toll on myself. And, stepping back, going to just like OB GYN, just plain OB GYN, not maternal fetal medicine, gave me an open door of like some good stuff and some bad stuff, not like always bad stuff. So
I know MFM is actually like much more difficult than people think that it is. Even just scanning babies is more difficult than people think it is. And so I give you props because OBGYN is not my forte. And I know it's difficult. But if you had to give people advice, who wanted to do OBGYN, what would you give them advice about?
Probably my number one advice is to just stay consistent with learning and scanning OB because just in ultrasound in general, it's like a foreign new language. So a lot of people get discouraged when they start scanning pregnancies in OB because it's just so much more different than like general sonography, I guess, like just still organs. And people get discouraged from, the baby was just head down, but now the baby's butt down. And so now you have to like rethink how you're going to scan. So I think you trying to like navigate that like uncomfortable phase of like, okay, I can't just scan in one scanning window. I have to like move the mom around or I have to like get the baby to move. It's kind of like a never ending type of skill. Like every patient is going to be completely different. The baby is going to be different gestational ages, different sizes, different positions. And I would say like just practice and being consistent with not giving up is probably the best. And that's the same with any ultrasound imaging. I feel like any specialty track, like with abdominal, vascular, echo, and all that.
That's great advice. And I'm going to take some of that because it's hard to scan the second and third trimester, especially when they're like really far along. Have you ever
Yeah.
had to do more than 2 babies in there?
Oh yeah. I've done twins. I've done triplets. I think one time quadruplets, very, very early, not like full on, but I've done a few triplets, especially maternal fetal medicine. And if you think one OB patient is hard, like you just do the same thing twice, or the same thing 3 times, or the same thing 4 times. So you could be in there for like 2, 3 hours.
Wow.
Oh my
2, 3
gosh.
hours?
Yeah. Cause you can imagine like one anatomy scan could take like 45 minutes or
That's true.
something. And then you double it. And then if one baby's sitting on top of the other, it's like you have to move them around. OB's tough.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It is. I'm learning it right now.
Yeah?
And I'm going to ask for advice since I have you here. I'm going to pick your brains a little.
Yeah.
How do you remember all the pathologies? So this would help other OP students as well. There are so many pathologies.
I know there's so many because it's like you're not only dealing with the baby, you're dealing with the mom too. So it could be like mom issues mixed with baby issues. A lot of the fetal anatomy and abnormalities are are the same to adults sometimes. But if you're like starting out, like if you're going to like, are you going to like an OB site at all, maybe, or you're just practicing?
I'm not.
You know,
I'm just learning it.
Oh, like learning it like on the books?
Yes, in lectures and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so many pathologies. It is. How did I do it?
Yes, how did you do it?
What are your
Tell us
studying
your
techniques?
secrets.
My study techniques, especially with like a baby, it sounds weird, but like I would pretend that like I'm the baby. Cause like if there's like some type of abnormality in like myself in that area, I would imagine if I was inside of a mom's tummy, which way would I be lying and which way like the pictures would look if I was that floating fetus in there. That sounds really weird, but there was at one point where me and my friends didn't understand like presentation of like a baby. So we literally just brought like a stuffed animal to a school and we're like, okay, if the baby's head down, then that means the stomach has to be here, and that means the bladder has to be here, and left arm's here, and right arm's here. You know, like we kind of have to like imagine ourselves as the baby. That sounds really weird, but
no, that's a great advice.
Yes, that is great advice. I'm gonna bring a teddy bear with me to class.
Yeah, just bring it. You're just like, okay, if this is this way, then my stomach has to be over here, and that's very helpful. Pathology, honestly, I don't even know how I got through that. I think because I was most interested in it, and I kind of just like, oh, this is so interesting.
When you were in school, what was the hard, like, so majority of the people who listen to us are students, you know?
Yeah.
So what got you through, you know, like studying and like going through the hard days that we all know we've gone through, that me and you have been through, that Lynn is now almost done going through. But for those who are about to go into it, you know, like what did you do to get you through studying and everything?
Yeah. So like, you know, obviously with any type of schooling and like medical schooling, it's going to be tough. You have to dedicate a lot of time. You kind of need to have like your mindset of what you're about to go through. I would say like my main advice for new coming students is practice a lot of time management and self-discipline. And I say that in a way because, you know, life doesn't stop outside of school. And so, especially with a high demanding education, as in like, you know, we have to pay attention a lot in ultrasound. It's not something you can half-ass on in the program because, you know, you could read and study all those things, but you could be the smartest person on the books for ultrasound. But if you can't go in the scan room and scan a patient, then like, you know, the schooling doesn't matter. So when I mean like time management, like make sure you're studying as best as you can for your boards, but also make sure you're practicing enough that when you're ready to go out in the field, you could actually scan. Because, you know, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, ultrasound looks so easy. Like I just have to take the test and I could go practice ultrasound. But it's like, if you don't know how to scan, you know, you need to practice. You need to take the time to practice, take time to go to scan labs and go to clinicals and be very proactive in learning at clinicals, because during clinicals, that's the only time you can make mistakes, right? You're scanning underneath someone, you could learn all the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. But then when you're out in the world, it's your name on it, and no one's going to like save you from that. And I say self-discipline because a lot of people get discouraged when they're going through school, like I certainly did. And I feel like, it's easy to just be like, okay, this is too hard, I'm going to like quit. But it's like, you got in the program for a reason. And if it just takes like a few months of being stressed and miserable, find your self-care, get back up and continue your school, because it'll turn out great at the end. In my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. Schooling is tough, but it's like a short sacrifice that will be worth it at the end, I feel like. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, look at us now, years later with all this experience, and we're only still learning so much every single day. I literally have all these cases every single day that I'm like, what? Like, I just question all the time, and people think I know everything. And I'm like, I don't know everything, but we know enough, we know enough to get us through our job and every day.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest, all medical fields is like you learn everything and it's really overwhelming at the time. And then when you go in the field, not saying that we don't remember all of it, but sometimes you don't remember every single detail from school. So sometimes you have to hit up Google, but it's like you do it to be like over prepared. And then when you're in the work field itself, it's like, oh my God, I know how to recognize this. This is what this pathology is. And then that's when you like really appreciate it, because we don't remember everything. We're not doctors, we're not diagnosing, but the practice of it, it'll just get you better, because we're constantly learning every day. I still see things every day and I'm like, what is that? Like, I was in school like forever ago, and it's like, well, I don't know what this is. And then, it's still okay to ask for help even during that time too.
Yeah, we always recommend ask questions, ask for help, especially if you have coworkers, us. I mean, we're all pretty much here open and willing to be there for you guys. And so, Christy, we appreciate you and everything that you do and everything that you've done for the community. Lynn, do you have any other questions for her?
I don't. That's all my questions. I just love listening to her talk. I'm like starstruck right now.
I'm sorry if I talk too much. Like once I'm in
a
rant, I'm like, yeah. And this is probably why my YouTube videos are like 10 minutes long. But
we love rants. Well, I highly suggest there's one video that if you guys need to know something about anything about ultrasound, Christy has a video that is everything you need to know about ultrasound. So she's got that video there. I remember watching it and I'm like, dang, she's got all the info and everything. She did her research.
I just remember when I filmed, that might be one of my also favorite videos, because it's just like the foolproof video that I feel like if I had that when I was in high school, like I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I know what ultrasound is, but all of that whole video, I had to like compile within like the past like 5 years in my brain. And I was like, this is going to be the master video, so no one could be lost on their journey.
Yes. That's everything you guys need to know. And we appreciate you for making that video, because we always talk about how ultrasound is just so confusing in general. It's so confusing when you're in the job, and it's confusing to figure out how everything works. I bet you get a million questions a day.
Yeah, I'm so sorry if I haven't answered anybody's questions. Whoever's listening to this, I promise your DM is going to get answered. I can't say I do answer all my DMs. It just takes me a long time.
No, we totally understand. And we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and schedule to come meet with us and be in our podcast.
Yes.
Where
I really
can they
love being here. Oh,
Where can they, you're okay. Where can they find you on Instagram so they can?
Oh my gosh.
follow?
Okay. So follow me on Instagram at Kristy DMS. You can find me on Instagram and on YouTube for my videos, and be sure to like and subscribe. And I'm always here for questions as well. My DMs are open.
Yay.
That's amazing. I think this is a great way to end Medical Ultrasound Awareness Month. Don't you think so, Giselle?
We got the one and only Kristy DMS on our podcast. Finally. And we definitely appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who listens and supports all of us on all of our social medias. So yeah, until the next video, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Kristy.
Thank you. Bye.